thank you. Folks, if you're here to learn how to start your own medical billing business, we're going to show you the very best way to do that. Now, there are some ways that you can do it on your own, right, Eric? Lots of stuff out there on the internet. They can take a course, read a book. All kinds of people will tell you that here's the best way to do that. But my wife and I did it. We've got the t-shirt to prove it, and
Yep.
27 years of experience, plus hundreds of people from coast to coast that we've put into the business, trained, and they're out there running their own business. And as you know, Eric, I've interviewed over 150 of those people over the years, all out there on our YouTube channel. So we'll point them to that here towards the end.
Absolutely. Well, we always like to start off with relative current events and what's going on in the market. And Patrick, I think I shared this a couple of weeks ago, but I wanted to bring it back up because a lot of people that are trying to get in this type of business, first of all, needs to know that medical billing, the real terminology for physicians when they're talking about medical billing, they talk about it in a term called revenue cycle management. And so that's why one of the reasons why we want to share this article with you, but also you can see the growth that's going to happen at least through 2026.
Yeah, look at that. $33 billion, folks. And that is in what? The next 5 years, right? 5 years.
Yep.
It'll be $33 billion industry. Now, if you're thinking about getting into any industry besides, well, food, restaurants, I don't think I would start a restaurant right now in this economy. But if you're thinking about getting into something, travel, oh, that's not a good one to get into right now either, is it? Oh, let's see, how about healthcare? Oh, that sounds like a great industry that will be around for a long time to come.
Absolutely. Matter of fact, I was talking with somebody today, and we were talking about, the age population here in America and how many people are turning 65. And I know, Patrick, you and I have been talking about the amount of people that turn 65 is like 10,000 a day. But actually, he corrected me. It's 12,000 a day now. So that number is going up.
So these are the people who are reaching retirement age, and they become these are the baby boomers basically out there still
Right.
retiring into the system. Wow, that means there's a big market out there. If you're looking for something that has a big future to it, I can't think of anything better than healthcare, and we merge with that our technology. Those two things are the big growth industries out there.
That's correct. And again, here's just some different articles basically saying the same thing, just the growth and the where it's driving and everything, all the forecasting that's out there. Folks, I mean, revenue cycle management is a huge market. And you can see again, there's forecasting growth even through in this report to 2027. So even if you were able to get in here, make all the money you want to make, and then get retired, you can probably do it within 5 to 6 years.
Hey, let's just see on this poll I just threw up on the screen, Eric.
Sure.
How many people answer this poll, and how many people guess the right number? Because if you look at this right here, folks, we're just asking you what percentage of the U.S. gross domestic product, the economy, is healthcare. What percentage do you think it is? A lot of people don't realize how big it is, and so I just thought I'd throw that poll up there. Let's see. Looks like most people have answered it so far. Folks, if you haven't, you can go to your screen there and click on one of the answers there. I don't see anything changing, so I'm going to close that, and let's share that with folks here, Eric. This is the answers. Look, wow, we got a smart audience here, don't we? Because it is about 20% of the economy.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's a huge part of really what the economy is doing right now. So it is something that you're going to want to be a part of and be a part of for a long time. Obviously, Patrick, again, your career has been the last 30 years really in this whole medical billing revenue cycle management.
Yeah, Linda started doing medical billing right here out of our home. We live in the Fort Worth, Dallas area, and she started that in about before 1994. We actually started doing billing right at the turn of 1990, and then 2 or 3 years later, we were having so many people ask us, well, how did you guys start making the money it looks like you're making? They could see we were buying new cars and a home and so forth, and they knew that we never left the home, so they were assuming, I guess, that I was selling drugs or something out on the street. I don't know where they thought we were making our money, but since we never left home, then they really didn't have any idea unless we told them. And so when we told them, they wanted to know how we did it. And I started teaching people one-on-one. And I said, you know what, there's probably a market for people who just want to learn how to duplicate our success. So I did the research. I put together the marketing materials, the ideas, all the things that are now in our package. Of course, it's grown over the years, but we put enough together to start licensing our business opportunity. Folks, it's kind of like a franchise, but there's no franchise fee. There is an investment up front, a licensing fee, we call it, of about $28,000. You'll see that on our website. We don't make a secret of that. If you haven't seen that yet, hope that didn't make you pass out. And I know that's a lot of money. It is, Eric, but it's a whole lot less than most franchises out there. Most of them want 50,000 to 150,000 franchise fees.
In all the different ways that you can actually get your return on investment back. Obviously, the one is medical billing. We're going to talk about that today, but you're going to see some others that can just do just as much. And you combined all of that, and your return on your investment obviously comes back much quicker. And so with the 27 years of experience, knowing how to, again, market the business, how to get your first client, because everybody's always asking, how do I get my first client? But before we answer that question didn't actually come in, but it does get asked quite a bit. So, but let's ask the questions right now. What are doctors facing? And Patrick, because we're coming out of this whole pandemic, maybe coming out of it, I have no idea, but the doctors are kind of trying to figure out, how are they going to survive?
Yes, and some of them were really struggling last year because patients didn't come in like they did the year before, of course. 2020 was a very unique year, but at the same time, Eric, we had licensees who worked, with the doctors saying that their business doubled last year.
Right.
So it just depends on what aspect of the medical market that you're looking at. For us, it can't be beat because as you're showing there, doctors are worried about the dollars that are flying out of their wallets. They're not able to manage their cash flow very well right now because of the lack of people that are coming in. And then of course they don't have the staff to handle the billing on the back end. So outsourcing the billing to someone else just makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, this is some of the other things that they're facing: empty waiting rooms, and again, some of that is because of the pandemic. But even prior to the pandemic, they were still faced with this. People that would try to get in, and then all of a sudden they can't. They've canceled their appointments or lost patients, gone from one place to the other, or just simply no shows. Excessive write-offs. I mean, these are bills that never got paid. Imagine voices that you would probably never even ever see. And the failure to check eligibility. Now, what that means is, imagine you go into the doctor's office and you've got your insurance card, and then you give that to them, and then someone fails to check to make sure that it's eligible to bill towards. So like, Blue Cross Blue Shield or Medicare, sometimes we still have old insurance cards in our wallet. And then you might end up accidentally giving them the wrong one, and then someone doesn't check it, and again, that creates a claim that never gets paid. So again, there's a write-off on it, and so Patrick, the doctors are actually faced with a lot of different issues.
Yeah, one of the wealthiest men in the world way back in the 40s said, the way to wealth is to find a need and fill it. Well, folks, you're looking at the need right here. There's a huge need out there for doctors who need help. They need help salvaging their practices and, bottom line, bringing in as much money as they can that's, legally theirs. They've already done the work when they've seen the patients, and then they got to collect it from the insurance companies and Medicare and the government agencies. And that is a big hassle that they don't really want to focus on.
Correct. Yeah, and I know this is this dollar amount hasn't changed, or these 24 cents hasn't changed in quite some time. But according to the New England Journal of Medicine, they say 24 cents is the estimated cost of dollars wasted just on administrative and billing expenses.
Yes, people don't realize, Eric, how much money the doctors have to pay their staff, the administrative staff, and all the the software, the upgrades, the IT support, the computers, all the things that it takes to do the billing inside their own office. they're not focused on that. They shouldn't be. They should be focused on the patients. But
Right.
we free them up from that and let them really focus on getting patients through, seeing more patients, and even the staff members. They don't have to let anybody off. If they're doing billing, they could just as easily help the doctor see that many more patients during the day, and therefore bring in even more money.
Another area, in a lot of doctors are right now. Again, I know that we talked about the greater amount of baby boomers turning 65, going from 10 to 12,000. Now on the other side, you've got some doctors that are trying to figure out, is private practice still an attractive career path? And some people thinking, well, a lot of doctors have turned in to become employed physicians.
Right.
Now, they thought that was a good thing, but what we have seen also, Patrick, and according to Physicians Practice, they've seen for a lot of employed doctors, they're not as positive about private ownership, but about 20% said that they are really reconsidering owning their own practice in the future. So, a lot of these doctors get into these employment contracts with hospitals, and they're not all what they cracked up to be. So doctors are trying to figure out, do I stay an employee? Do I go back to private practice? And I know that I actually did a survey a few years ago on Facebook that asked just a random question, just to people out there on Facebook, saying, if it was your choice, would you rather go to an employed doctor, hospital, or some clinic group, or would you rather go to a private practice doctor? And there was only like 1 out of 100 that said that they would even consider going to an employee doctor that was employed. Most of them said, I would rather go to a private practice because that doctor spent more time with me. And that's what doctors are facing. But they're afraid to go into private practice because they don't know if they can handle all the billing.
Right. That's the unknown factor. We have a partner that partners with our licensees, people who invest in our business and goes through our training, Dr. Vicki Ratner, who was in private practice herself for many, many years, a general surgeon. And when she went into practice, that was the first thing her and her partner decided to do, was to outsource their billing. She said, we don't know anything about billing and insurance and Medicare and all that stuff. So we'd rather somebody who focuses on that, somebody who's a specialist, somebody who that's all they do all day long. And not just for us, but for other doctors as well. We want a billing company to handle that for us. And she said that was the best decision that she made when she was in private practice.
Well, you just spoke of Dr. Vicki Ratner, and I'm glad you did, because that kind of just brings us right into the New Thriving Medical Practice book. And I know we'll talk about it a little bit, how it's important for a licensee. But before we even get into that, Patrick, we named this whole webinar, Learn the Best Way to Start a Medical Billing Business. Well, I thought nothing better than just to use the book for us to teach the people that are on the webinar today and those that will listen a little bit later some great proven methodologies of growing your medical billing business utilizing this book. So here are some of the samples of the things that you would learn in this book. Patrick, let's just kind of go through some of this information and how this is actually a great lesson, a great teaching tool for people looking to get into medical billing.
Yeah, these are all the things here that on the back of the book there, the little bullet points that the doctor would read once you give them a copy of this book. So basically, here's what happens, folks. We give you a supply of these books in the package whenever you order our package and pay our license fee. Boy, that thing's kind of doing weird stuff there with that background, isn't it? But that is what the book actually looks like. Oh, I can't even hold it up to the camera there. And so we let you put your name on the front cover, which, as Eric said, we'll go into a little bit more. But the point is that when they flip this book over and see all of these different things that are in the book, if you were a doctor, look at this list. Think about all the things that we are teaching these doctors by just giving them a copy of this paperback book. Now, they can get this on Amazon for $24.95, but we give this to you as a part of your package. And then you give it to the doctors as a little marketing tool.
Yeah, I mean, look at just the bullet points here. Which of these challenges are happening in your practice? Now, look at some of the things, and remember one of the slides that we talked about earlier, and just see if some of these are matching up here. Critical cash gaps, not enough patients' appointments, failure to check eligibility, not discussing the financial obligations with the patient, failure to double check and update all patient information, inaccurate or incomplete super bills, failure to make sure all patients check out. Folks, I mean, you would think, well, these doctors would do this anyway. No shows, how to deal with that, lost patients, excessive write-offs. So again, folks, we kind of know what we're talking about here. Even what we're teaching you today, we're teaching you a lot of what we would teach you as a brand new licensee. You're just going to get it in a snapshot within about an hour, and that's about it.
Right, and trust me, the way Dr. Vicky came up with this list, she didn't realize it when she was coming up with this, Eric, but our system and what we teach our licensees covers every one of these bullet points that you see here, folks. Our system actually solves the problem, for example, of not eligibility, failure to check the eligibility. It's built into our system that it does it automatically if you just put in their insurance card number, for example.
Exactly.
No shows. We can solve that, Eric, because we've got the automatic phone calls and texting that can be set up in the system to automatically make sure that those patients show up. Anyway, it just goes on and on, folks. I wish we had time to go into in depth on this. Folks, watching this webinar, you're probably thinking, well, what in the world are these people talking about? I don't even understand, all these different things. Well, that's part of our training. That's why we go in depth, like Eric said, in the training.
And here's another article. New York doctor struggles to stay independent in a changing industry. Doctors in private practice have all to balance the demand of running a small business with providing the best care for their patients. But the challenges of keeping the waiting room open are growing amid a declining reimbursement rate from insurers. And that's a direct quote from this particular article. But Patrick, again, this is not just us saying it. It's people like this New York business website here.
Well, anybody who's worked for a doctor knows that doctors are not the best business people in the world. Now, they're very smart and they know a lot about, medicine and the body and so forth. But look, that's why it says it starts out, they've always had to balance the demands of running a business. I mean, that's what a practice is, right? With providing the best care for their patients. So there's two things there, two aspects of their practice, and they don't want to focus on the business side, believe me.
Patrick, I mean, obviously you helped co-author this book, so I'm going to kind of let you talk through some of this here. But this is a section of how money flows into and out of your practice. Tell us about this whole thing about rejections.
Yeah, whenever you submit a claim to an insurance company, that insurance company has the right, of course, to reject that claim. That's why it says here, rejections have held steady at about 30% industry-wide. Now, there, Eric, that means that if the doctor's doing the billing themselves, or even if they're outsourcing it to other billing companies that don't have our technology and our built-in clearinghouse, they're getting a 30% rejection rate. A lot of those claims, when they're rejected, go right back into the waiting tray there that they're someday going to get to, and they usually don't. But even if they do submit, only about a half of those get resubmitted, and then only a small percentage of those get paid. Our rejection rate on the front end is less than 2%. That's because of our cloud-based billing system.
I'm amazed here that this guy, Keith Borglum, owner of management and marketing in Santa Rosa, California, tells one of his medical practice that had 71% error rate in a single year.
I hear that from licensees that I interview all the time, that they've had practices with 40, 50, 60% error rates, and they never went back and got that money. You know what they did at the end of the year? Their CPA said, oh, well, just write that off. You get some tax deductions. Well, believe me, most doctors would rather have that money, that $185,000 in their bank account than a write-off.
Well, we already mentioned that one of the things that can happen with inside of the iClaim system is to check insurance eligibility. So let me kind of step you through this. But before I do this, I encourage everybody that's on the webinar and will be listening to the webinar a little bit later, that is to get back with your business coach that you're working with here, the one that's kind of leading you and kind of guiding you through all the information outside of Patrick and what Patrick and I are doing today. So that person that you're working with very closely, get back with them and ask them to do a live demonstration of the iClaim software. Because what I'm going to show you right now is just some screenshots. You get back with them and they'll walk you right through what I'm talking about here. So you can see once you log into the system, there is that part right here under shortcuts where it says eligibility request. Now, this is important because every time a brand new patient walks in the door, think about what you've done. Everybody's gone to see a doctor at one point in time. And if you're a new patient, you have to fill out that stack of information. Well, inside of here, and for our doctors that use iClaim, all you really need is your insurance information right off your card, because they could go right here to insurance eligibility, select what payer that you're with, put in some of the information like right here, the date of birth and the provider ID for the doctor, and they put all of that in there. They'll put what's called your subscriber, that would be you as a patient, the subscriber's date of birth, the service date to start and the service date to end, and then click on one more button within our system, and all of that information actually comes into our system automatically. So it's like we are connected directly to United Healthcare. So what we're able to do is, through our system, without ever having to leave iClaim, we can reach out, get that information from United Healthcare, look at it on the screen as we're looking at it right here, and then click one more button, and that is create chart right here. And what that'll do, that'll bring in all of the patient's information, their first name, their last name, their street address, because guess where all that information is already stored? It's already stored at the payer, at that insurance company that patient has. So why not just pull it from the insurance company? That's the power of our system. You will not find this type of power in a practice management or a billing software that is called a server-based software. Server-based softwares cannot do what I just talked about. That is all done through this particular system.
Yeah, there are companies out there that teach you to just order some software, or maybe they have some that they've developed, and it just comes on a CD, And so you're supposed to put that in there and load it into your computer. Now all that's on your hard drive, and all the patient information is stored on your hard drive. But what if your computer's stolen?
Yeah.
What if it's burns up in a fire? All of a sudden you've lost all that, or a hard drive crashes. You've lost all that, folks. With a cloud-based system, our servers, our secure servers in multiple locations in the United States, is saving that information and backing it up. So this is one of the reasons why the rejection rate is so low, because think of all the human errors that could be made there. One little thing wrong here on this screen error, Eric, and the insurance company could reject that claim. Not Absolutely. With ours, because we got it directly from the insurance company themselves.
Absolutely. So just what you've seen so far, we're already teaching the best way to start your medical billing business. That's bottom line. We haven't even shown you the rest. And believe it or not, folks, we're already at the bottom of the hour. So we've got about 30 more minutes to go. So feel free, if you got any questions. I know that we're giving you a lot of information. You're just kind of tied into what we're saying. Don't forget that if you've got a particular question, please ask us. Now, Patrick, again, some of the common causes of rejection, again, you and Dr. Rackner have addressed inside the book of the New Thriving Medical Practice. One is the billing for procedures are not covered, inaccurate coding, undercoding, human errors. Now, we've already said a couple of words here that maybe some people are already kind of maybe feeling a little nervous about, and that's that whole thing about medical coding.
Yeah.
Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, folks, people think that to do medical billing, you have to be a medical coder. Now, there are courses and books that you can get on becoming a certified medical coder, but folks, that doesn't really mean anything, because then you got to go back and get a job working for a doctor, right? The coding is not the hard part about medical billing. Running a medical billing business is not involved in the coding as much as it is knowing how to get clients and keep the clients, keep them happy. You see, the coding is all built into our system. All 60, 70,000 of those codes are built into our system, folks, and always accurate and up to date, because we have certified medical coders behind the scenes that make sure that they're up to date. So when you go in and start using our system, you'll see that you can actually pick from the codes that are available for that particular procedure. The doctor can do that on their iPad when they're visiting with the patient, because ours, again, being cloud-based, can connect from their iPad directly into our system, and when they choose the codes that they want, that's all there when you go to do the billing. So it's always going to be accurate.
Another part that you put here in the book, and I've highlighted this one, from a cash mart standpoint, we believe that outsourcing is more cost effective than hiring employees to do the work. Now, this is something that you mentioned that Dr. Ratner has already said. So, she kind of knew early on, back when she was practicing medicine, that outsourcing was obviously the best way to make the most money to get that back into the doctor's office.
Yeah. Now, when she was practicing, though, Eric, the system that her biller was using was not a cloud-based system, so she
Right.
didn't have the ability to have control of the claims in their own office. They had to ask for a report or something from the billing company. With
Right.
ours, our licensees can give a login access to the doctor permanently, so the doctor 24/7 from any device in the world that connects to the internet, even on their iPhone or smartphone, they can connect to our system and see the status of their claims. So they
Exactly.
know exactly what you're doing. It's very transparent, and the doctors absolutely love that.
Absolutely. We got another statistic here that we want to throw up here that it says this comes from a company called Black Book, and they do all these different surveys, and they said 42% of all physicians practice with employed billing staff. That's billing staff inside their office. 42% of those hope to outsource their billing over the next 12 months. That again statistic hasn't changed in the last 10 years really. Because again, even though the doctors, some like to start their billing in-house, they also understand to get that out of the office because they're gonna get more money. They think they lose money if they outsource because they think, gosh, I could hire somebody in-house to do it. But what they don't understand is the cost of the employee, the full-time employee, and then everything else that goes along with billing. Just have a company that just does medical billing, and they're always going to get more money.
Eric Allen asked the question here about how do I get paid? And folks, this is real simple. If you collect for a doctor, let's say $100,000 a month, you're going to charge that doctor anywhere from 6 to 8%. That's the standard all over the United States. Let's say it's even
Right.
6%. Isn't that $6,000, Eric, that licensee would make doing the billing for that doctor that
Exactly.
month? Yeah. So that's why it sounds like a lot of money, but it's actually a very tiny part, 6%. Believe me, Eric, if they do the math, they'll know that they're spending probably 20, 25% of their overhead for having their own staff do the billing.
Absolutely. Another part of the book, and I think you've already addressed this, Patrick, and that's the problem with softwares that are not cloud-based. Obviously,
Right.
cloud-based is just a software that you log in through your internet browser. There's nothing that resides upon your computer. There's nothing to worry about being HIPAA compliant because there's no patient information that's residing on your computer. So if it crashes, it burns, it gets stolen, there's nothing on there that's going to be ripped out and cause you a HIPAA compliancy nightmare.
Yes, the HIPAA rules and regulations that are put out by the government can basically get a doctor fined thousands of dollars, Eric. There was a laptop that was stolen recently from a doctor. He was on the plane and he left the laptop there. Somebody stole it, had all
Yeah.
of his medical records on that laptop. They're fined sometimes up to $10,000 per infraction.
Wow.
Every time they do something with the HIPAA patient data like that. So very dangerous. That's why we warn people, look, any other company that you might be talking to about how to get into medical billing, ask them this question: when I get your software, does it come on a CD? That's the only question you need to ask. If they say yes, that means all that's going to be stored on your computer, not in the cloud. Ours, none of that data is anywhere close to your computer.
Absolutely, absolutely. And again, we're putting up here that our platform that we have it's an award-winning HIPAA compliant software. Again, it resides in the internet clouds of where that might be on particular servers. But also, we're demonstrating that there are actually four major components to the software. There's the practice management system, which is called iClaim. There's the electronic medical records, which is our EMRS system. Then there is the claim scrubber and submissions, and that's our clearinghouse. That's not a third-party clearinghouse. That's built inside of our system. And then there's a the patient medical records, which is called a patient portal, which also inside of that resides our telehealth software. So our telehealth software is actually built in our system already. So folks, you've got everything that you need in our system, and we'll be happy again to show that to you and how that actually becomes very, very in your favor to help get new business.
Yeah. This is interesting because this quote says doctors commonly just accept that they have to bear the burden of extending credit, to patients who can't pay their balance, or maybe they don't have insurance. However, to move from a cash crunch to cash flow, you must be willing to retool your system to prevent inevitable cash flow problems that are caused by slow and no pay patients. Eric, this is a big problem for doctors. Do you know that 50% of all doctors, 50% of all the money that's owed to doctors by patients is never collected? 50%.
Right.
And we have a way of addressing that. One of our systems that are included in it, there's one right there, Choice Pay, gives the option to patients as to how they pay their debt. It can reduce the patient debt, increase the doctor's cash flow, increase patient satisfaction, never send patients to collections or collection agencies. That's a bad thing to do. And then, of course, we have that patient payment portal that lets the patient just go right online and pay their own payments any way they want to. So it makes it much easier for patients, and it gives doctors the out not to have to mess with that.
Yeah, there's just a login that they get to go to, and they can pay that right online. Obviously, inside of our system, it's built into that part of it. So, folks, that part of Choice Pay is built right into there. Then we have another service, again, to help, and just another layer of what's called Quick Collect. And again, Patrick, I don't know about you. I think we're both the type of men that we pay our bills and we just take care of things. But sometimes these medical bills slip through, and then all of a sudden you look at your credit report and you've got some doctor that sent you to collections that you never even knew about, and how frustrating that can be.
If we're honest, if everybody's honest here on this webinar, you can ask yourself now, when you get a stack of bills on your desk, you save them for the weekend or whatever, you don't pay the medical bills first. You pay the water bill, the house, the insurance, all those other things are paid, and credit cards even, before you pay any bills that are sent to you by hospitals or doctors, right? That's why there's such a problem with that in the doctor's offices. But the Quick Collect actually helps the doctors collect that money. Eric, if you just went right now and knocked on doctors' doors, how many of them would tell you that, yes, I do have some outstanding receivables? Most of them, right?
Absolutely.
Some of them, our licensees have reported that they found doctors who have up to $500,000 in receivables from patients that they just don't know what to do with. So this system, of course, is not a collection agency, but it is an automated online cloud-based system that allows our licensees to manage that for the doctors. You never make a phone call. You never pick up the phone and talk to any patients. You don't even send out any letters. This is all done behind the scenes through our system. It's all web-based. And of course, we have detailed reporting for the doctor and so forth. But Eric, this has been known to collect up to 98% of the money that's due to the doctors from patients too.
Absolutely. So folks, you can see that it's more than just billing. It's about the whole revenue cycle management, and obviously that's what we're dealing with here. So let me just share with you, Umesh has just asked a question here. Is the cloud-based software mirrored so that in the event of an outage, there is no downtime? And that's correct. We have what's called redundancy in our servers.
Right.
So that means whenever one's being worked on, the other one's running, and so that's a good way to put it. It's mirrored. They're both running at the same time in two separate locations of the United States. So that's always a good
Umesh, those are even in different electrical grids. In case one electrical grid went down, we've got another server that would just kick in automatically, and honestly, you would never know it. Behind the scenes, it just switches over to that other server that's an exact mirror of the one that went down for some reason, and then you just continue working. We've got that under control. Plus, everything that goes into our system every day is backed up, I think like at 3 a.m. in the morning or something like that. It's all backed up off-site as well, so that
Sure.
even if you know, two servers went down, we've got all of our data and we can get you back up to speed, you know, within the next 24 hours at least.
Absolutely. Now, this is interesting that you and Dr. Ratner put this in the book that talks about, you know, a doctor and their staff have not been, or they've been trained to do take care of their medical patients, provide medical care for their patients, not to do bookkeeping functions. I think I love that part of it, and that's being written directly to the doctors. That's why it says you and your staff we're trained to provide medical services to patients, not keeping books. You know, that's
That's
what
right.
that's all things about.
Well, and they're not, let's face it, sometimes they put people on the billing aspect of their practice who were just trained by the people before them. Nobody's going through any formal training of any kind in a doctor's office. And so they don't know all the ins and outs. They don't know all the little tricks that we do, that we teach our
Right.
licensees to do to be able to collect that money. And you're showing these great quotes here in highlighted version. Again, I'm going to try to show the book here just so people can see this. Can you see these little tabs along the edge here? These little sticky tabs are marked because if a doctor gets this book from you and opens it up, it disappeared, didn't it? It's highlighted on that page. And we did that on purpose so that doctors don't have to read the whole book.
Right here, Patrick. There we go. I got a picture of it on the.
Perfect.
There we go.
Folks, part of our training is how do you get doctors even engaged with you? How do you get their attention? Well, one of the ways is you give them a $25 book, at least that's what it
Right.
retails for, that cost you what, Eric, if they have to reorder these, I think they're less than $4, and that's personalized with your name having written the foreword of the book.
And that's
so
why
these are like business cards almost.
and that's why we call our licensees the new thriving ABS licensee or medical billing company. Because again, Patrick's been sharing that with you throughout this whole part of what we've been talking about the book. Now, so this is a twofold thing. So first of all, get back with the person that asked you to come here and see if we can't get you an electronic copy of this so that you can start learning prior to becoming a medical billing company. Because this is actually going to help you really get your head wrapped around some of the things of where we're going to teach you how to market. Plus, as Patrick just said to you, when you become an American business licensee, you get to have your name on the front part of the book. You get to write the foreword of the book. Now, we have one that's already pre-written for you. Use it if you'd like to. But obviously, if you're a pretty good writer and you want to add some more to it, feel free to do that. Get that back with support, and they'll make sure that they kind of walk you right through that.
Sure. And guys, there's nothing better than to have your contact information. Look, there's your name, your company name, your phone number, your email address, and your web address, all right there inside the book.
Yes.
Eric, I just can't imagine a better marketing tool than to have your name on the front cover of a book written by a doctor. Folks, that ties you in with that doctor and gives you huge credibility. If people want to know what makes us stand out in the marketplace, this is one of the things that'll make you stand out for sure.
Absolutely. And then if you kind of couple that with another book that Dr. Vicki has written called The Myth of the Rich Doctor. Now, let's kind of talk about who she is. And again, she's been around with us for quite some time. I mean, she has been on all sorts of different TV shows and radio shows. She's written books. She's actually helping a bunch of other people. But here is another quote from just the book of The Myth of the Rich Doctor. It says, physicians in private practice walk away from an average of 30% of their incomes when they do not follow up on rejected insurance claims. Now, folks, again, imagine that you have this type of book here, but The Myth of the Rich Doctor, coupled with your book that has your name on it. You talk about the credibility goes up immediately.
Yeah, and like that last paragraph says, if you're in private practice, what is your claim rejection rate? Outsourcing your medical billing, she says, could bring claim rejection rates to as low as 2 to 5%. This may be the fastest and easiest way to increase your cash flow. This is what doctors are worried about right now, Eric, the cash flow inside their practice. If you can solve this problem, folks, it's like selling popsicles to, in the Sahara Desert. It's just not that hard.
That is correct, yes. Because again, you're really not selling them anything except for their lost cash. That's all
Right.
that you're doing. So think of it that way. Don't rethink it any other way. Matter of fact, we talked about last week why people fail. A lot of people fail themselves in getting started in their business because they kind of rethink or try to reinvent the wheel or try to do things differently. Just do what we tell you to do. Utilize the materials that we already have. Follow our system to get you from not knowing anything about medical billing or revenue cycle management to, again, getting your first client. And again, not only do we have everything that we've talked about so far, here again is the ABS key advantage. We have so many different and continually adding to service lines to what you can do to bring to the doctors. Again, everything from audit guard to auto card to code write to telehealth to quick collect, iDocs now, EMRX, and we've got a few more that we'd like to share with you. But again, let's kind of talk real quickly about iClaim again. And it's simply, and what we're also demonstrating to you here is not just the software, but also the marketing material you get. Now, Patrick, there is, where they get over 2,000 pieces of marketing material along with that, along with the book as part of their marketing material.
Yes, and if they need to reorder, some people never reorder those, but if they do, they're just at our printing cost. Folks, we're not in the business of making money on these types of things. If you need more marketing materials, we're going to get them to you at our cost because that helps you get that many more clients. And as a company, we make money for all the clients that you sign up as well. The doctor is paying a fee to access the system, and therefore we are making a few pennies on that from every client that's out there. So we have a vested interest in providing these kinds of ancillary services to you.
Well, again, I want to encourage everybody that's on the call today, if you haven't taken a look at the system, please get back with your person that you're working with here at ABS. Let them kind of take you through a step-by-step process. And that in and of itself will help you to understand, and especially if you get a chance to read the book, The New Thriving Medical Practice, you're going to see, okay, now this is really starting to make sense. So do part of your due diligence. You're investing an hour with Patrick and me this afternoon. Go back and get with the person and say, hey, can I get a copy of that book in electronic format? And then let me see this software again. I think it's going to help me to really kind of dive into it. Same thing with EMRX. You can see here right off the bat that you can get into the system, see what the doctors are doing, see how all of this works from one end to the other about how the doctor actually sees the patient and how that information gets from the EMR, the electronic medical records platform over to iClaim. And folks, it's pretty amazing.
Yeah, and I know we kind of jumped over that pretty quick there. We will get on one-on-one with you. One of our people here at the office will demonstrate that system for you. But when you go out and start marketing, guess what? We also will do that for you, for your doctors who are interested in, they always want to see what the system is that you're going to be using. We will get online with them and show this. Now you're on there too. Remember, just like several people are on this webinar today, we can have you in your office looking at what we're saying to the doctor. You're hearing the same demonstration and hearing all the questions that the doctor asks, and we answer all their questions. So it doesn't get any better than this, Eric.
Right. Shirley just asked, does the book come with the program? The answer is yes. So you get the book, and is it just for doctors, dental? I think doctors dental. It's for doctors that are in the medical field, and I'm sure that some dentists could probably read that and understand how this could actually work for them as well. But it's more geared towards the medical billing and the medical practices. So you're going to see a geriatric type doctor or a cardiologist or a nephrologist or just a regular general practitioner. That book is kind of geared towards the medical billing side of everything, I believe. Am I correct, Patrick? Or is there some things there that I guess could certainly be applied to the dental side if some people are marketing to dentists?
Oh, yes, we have dental billing, and there are people who have used this book to actually market to dentists because about 90% of it applies to any doctor. Dentists are doctors too, right? And especially the specialists, they do medical billing with the same codes the doctors use. If they're a surgeon a periodontist, those specialties in the dental field, all this would apply to them as well. Yeah.
Right. Folks, we're getting really close to the end here. We're already 8 minutes before we got to shut this thing down here. So before we go any further, let me remind you, if you haven't already, go get the download of today's webinar. And you'll see it over there in the handout. So it's in a PDF format. So take a little bit of time over there, go run over there and go grab it, download it while we kind of wrap things up here. And then so download it and listen as we kind of conclude here. Again, we've already talked about CodeWrite. It is another application for you to utilize with doctors, especially those doctors who may say, hey, can you do coding for me? Your answer is always yes, because again, in the background, we have certified professional coders that will do everything for you, whether it's CodeWrite or whether it's Audit Guard. Both of these kind of go hand in hand. Again, get back with the person that invited you to the webinar today and ask them to explain the difference between Audit Guard and CodeWrite. It's still using the same certified medical coders, as you can see there, but just get in there and ask them to kind of help you understand what both of these services will do for you. And
yeah, this one, Audit Guard, by the way, actually, remember, we have certified coders who are doing all this work behind the scenes for you. But folks, you also don't have to worry about the fact that doctors are not going to get in trouble if they've been pre-audited by us. In other words, we can't guarantee the doctor wouldn't be audited, but if they've already been audited and they can provide the reports that we have for them through Audit Guard, then they have that less of a chance of being audited by Medicare. Again, there's huge fines when they do things they shouldn't do with the codes.
Well, folks, we are, again, kind of wrapping up, and I want Patrick to get to the steps that you're going to take to kind of move some things forward. But as you heard me say earlier, ABS is always adding new services to the play. Here's one called virtual care. Some of you have probably heard us talk about that in the past. But again, if you'll just go research on Google virtual care or remote patient monitoring, as you can see over to the right, back down here, the market for remote patient monitoring is another story. Look at the growth that is on pace to do by 2025. It's going to reach $117 billion in just that area alone. Well, ABS has the opportunity to help you and your doctors get into virtual care. That is a great door opener right now. And folks, this is something that you don't even have to do. This is something that help the doctors get more money. It's all part of the second wave of telehealth. And this is a little bit about what remote patient monitoring might look like. Obviously, you can see a doctor here with the computer and the patient and taking blood pressure readings and pulse oximeters and temperatures and anything to go along with that. That really is the new future of medicine. So Patrick, yes, that's an amazing thing that you guys have there.
This is the blessing behind the pandemic that we didn't expect, right, Eric? The doctors are used to doing telehealth, and now with the ability to do remote patient monitoring and the government and the insurance companies actually compensating the doctor for that, we can show you how to show a doctor that they can increase their revenue by literally hundreds of thousands of dollars, and they don't really have to do a whole lot because we do it all for them.
You bet.
Plus, there's big bucks in here for licensees as well, Eric. We'll have people that just focus on this probably and build their business around the virtual remote patient monitoring.
You bet. And now, and this is the latest thing that you've added, and that's dental billing. We've had opportunities to do dental billing, but now we have a complete platform for the patients to do dental billing.
Again, a cloud-based system. Everything we do is cloud-based, and this one is cloud-based as well. So you can now approach dentists and do the billing for the dentists as well. Now remember, it's not near as big a market because the dentists don't see near as many patients. Not that many people have dental insurance. It's a lot of self-pay, but there is a market out there, Eric, and there's dentists who do not want to do it themselves. So if you want to offer a dental billing, then you certainly can. That's a part of our package.
Well, Patrick, we're coming up at the top of the hour. We've got about 4.5 or 3.5 minutes left. So let's get right on into your guarantee and then the 6 steps that they need to do, some things just to kind of keep the ball moving for as we kind of get ready to wrap up the webinar.
Eric, I know I talk about this on every webinar, but do you mind stopping the slides just for a second? Because I want to get right in people's face here and talk to them one-on-one about why I did this. A few years back, I said, you know, folks, there's no company out there. I was talking to my own staff members. I said, there's nobody out there that offers a money-back guarantee. And they all said, well, we can't do that because people would go through our training, get all of our proprietary information, and then they would ask for their money back. Well, folks, since we started offering this, less than 0.5% of people have actually asked for a refund. And the reason I insisted that we do this is because I don't want you investing in anything, not our business or any other business that's out there, without knowing what you're getting into. And I know just talking to our people here at the office or going to our website, you can't even go into every webinar that we do. You can't learn everything there is to learn. What you will learn is how to get through our training modules. It's all done online, one-on-one with instructors. And once you've gone through all 10 modules, which takes about 15 hours is all, you will be, you'll know whether or not this business is for you. If it's not, just ask for your money back and move on to something else. We don't want your money unless you can be successful in this business. And that's why we're the only company that does that. If you're investing with anybody else, be sure and ask them about their money back guarantee. I can say that because we don't know of any other company that does this, do we, Eric?
No. Well, here's some steps that you can take directly today, and it's all going to lead you hopefully to your time when you're ready to start your training. The first thing is a research guide. Look over that downloadable research guide. I think Patrick may be trying to get a copy of it right now, but it's a pretty big research guide that you can certainly utilize to gain more information. Yeah, it's not working.
I love these virtual backgrounds. They don't want to pick up anything that's weird on the screen, but this is a printed copy of it. This is actually an electronic version of it that we'll send to you, but it's over 50 pages of information that you won't find on our website. So be sure and ask your ABS rep for that. There's how you get a hold of us, by the way, right there in the bottom corner. If you don't know how to get a hold of us, just send an email or call that number and say, who's my rep? And I want one of those research guides. We'll send that to you.
And Patrick and I have been doing webinars for years now. It seems like for almost 27 years. I know there were no webinars 27 years ago, but at least half of the time we've been doing webinars, and you can see those webinars back on YouTube. Our YouTube channel is youtube.com/YABS. Go check us out there. We've got lots of interviews with other licensees, and I think you'll be doing a licensee webinar, licensee interview soon. So you're going to want to be watching for that as well.
Yeah, and be sure and ask your ABS rep also for what we call an owner reference list. That's a list of people who've been through our training that own their own medical billing company now. And they said, yeah, if you want people to call me, I'll be glad to talk to people because they're so thrilled with what the business has done for them and their families that they will take time on the phone, all the time you need, to ask them any questions you want directly to them about what they thought about the training, the instructors, the support. Ask people who've actually invested and have been out there doing it for a while.
Yeah, I've been talking about seeing a live demo. So folks, again, add that to your list of things that you're going to want to do, because you can't really just make a great decision without seeing a live demo. And then Patrick, there's just a couple more things. Review the purchase agreement, and gosh, I think it's what, a total of 4 pages long?
Yeah, that's all it is. It's a very simple agreement, folks, because again, we make it simple for you to get in business. A franchise has sometimes disclosure statements that are 40 and 50 pages long, Eric. This was very simple. You just send that agreement in, of course, signed agreement with your funding and schedule your training. And if you're not sure how to fund the business, be sure and ask your ABS rep for any tips that they have about how to put your money together. And then schedule your live training, because folks, you just can't imagine what we have done when we went from live training down here in a hotel in Texas, making people fly down here for a week. Now it's all online around your schedule. The instructor will base their modules and their training sessions around your schedule. It's just you and the instructor. That's it. And you can ask all the questions you want. And if you have a partner or spouse that wants to be on the training, you can do that too. Eric, we had somebody the other day that had like 3 other people on the training. It doesn't cost us any more to have those people listen in on that too.
You bet. Well, folks, it is a little after 5 o'clock our time, so we've gone an entire hour. It may be a little bit after 6 where you might be, or if you're on the West Coast, a couple of hours behind that. So, but what we want to share with you is that we're going to do this again next Wednesday. except a different topic. Is starting a new business right for you? We're going to try to answer that question for you. I'm going to put it over into the chat box or the question box area. You might find that a link to this webinar. So if you'd like to, go ahead and pre-register. Get ready to be on that webinar. We'll send you some reminder emails so that you won't forget about joining us. But Patrick, this has been, I mean, I keep looking at the clock and I can't believe we've just been talking for a whole hour.
Yeah, I know. It's so fun. And I get so excited about helping people get into this business that even after 27 years, it's still my passion, Eric, as you know, to work with licensees as they start getting out there and marketing and getting their first client. We have ongoing webinars at least every other Friday here for our licensees that don't cost them anything to attend. Ongoing training, ongoing support. I have somebody asking here, is there, do we get the software? Well, folks, we've not made that clear probably through this, but Eric, everything we've shown today is a part of their license fee. We don't nickel and dime you to death here, folks. There's nothing extra that you have to pay for. No, you don't pay ABS another penny once you've paid us that license fee and gone through our training. It's all inclusive. There is a monthly fee that the doctors have to pay to be able to access the system, as I said earlier, but that's something that the doctors are including in what they're committing to you to get involved in the system. It's not a lot of money, and some licensees even pay that monthly fee so that they don't even have to talk to that about the doctors. They just increase their percentage maybe from 6% to 6.5% or whatever it takes to cover that.
Absolutely. Well, I see there's a few folks have already dropped off here, but for those that have been hanging on here, thank you. Everybody said thank you. Shirley said thank you. Devin says thank you. Jacqueline says thank you for the great information. So I appreciate everybody hanging in there. Patrick, thank you for joining us this afternoon, and hopefully we'll see everybody next Wednesday.
Yeah, Eric, let's just keep this running for about 60 more seconds, if you will. And folks, that gives you time to go get the handout over there in the handout section. You can also type any other questions you want in here as well. We'll try to get those answered. If not, we'll pass those on to your ABS rep. Yeah, I hope we see you all next week. Thanks for putting this together, Eric.
Yeah, my pleasure. Y'all have a great week. See you next Wednesday.